How's it going, everybody? It is Visual. I hope you guys are having a beautiful day, and welcome back to another Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battle versus Sickow over here in the Monotype tier. I hope I said his name right. So, I just lead off with my Alolan Golem, which has Air Balloon, which doesn't matter against a Roserade, since Roserade can just fire off a Leaf Storm or a Giga Drain. But I do predict him to not want to go for that, because I have some pretty good switch-ins for a Leaf Storm or Giga Drain. Mainly my Zapdos, which is actually specially defensive, but he doesn't know that yet. But maybe he can predict that. But he actually just gets his Tox Spikes up as I just get my Stealth Rocks up and fire off a Fire Punch. And I'm Adamant Alolan Golem, but unfortunately he is Focus Sash Roserade, so that kind of sucks. And then he just one-shots me with a Giga Drain. So pretty aggressive plays by me, but I wanted to just start it off pretty aggressive. And if I lose my Alolan Golem, it wasn't the end of the world really, because I knew I wasn't really going to do that much this entire of the game, even though Earthquake would be nice for the rest of his poison types, but it is what it is. Maybe it's a good switch into Nihilego, but Nihilego does have access to Grass Knot, which could do 10 million to Alolan Golem, so I just go into Zapdos as Roserade actually switches out into Nihilego on my Heat Wave. I just wanted to go for Heat Wave just in the off chance he wants to stay in Roserade, and then I go into my Rotom-Wash because I do not want to take a Power Gem from this Nihilego. And it turns out to be Black Sludge, so that's really good since it's not Life Orb, and that would like literally claim a life right here, since that's so much power. But unfortunately it already claims a life on my Rotom-Wash because it crits me with that Sludge Bomb and then gets that Beast Boost right there. I was planning on maybe Volt Switching because I can Volt Switch. Maybe even Hydro Pump, but Hydro Pump won't knock out Nihilego, so I was just going to Volt Switch. Actually, I think I clicked Pain Split that turn because I can get a lot of HP back and potentially live another hit and then Hydro Pump and maybe knock it out. But now I bring in my Banded Zeraora and Plasma Fist, then Nihilego back into whatever it came from, another dimension. So unfortunately, my Zeraora got poisoned right there, but that's totally fine since at least I knocked out a Pokemon, and maybe you wasn't expecting me to be Choice Banded, but Nihilego doesn't really have the best defense, so Plasma Fist will destroy that thing. So now he brings in Dragalge, as I go into my specially defensive Zapdos, goes for the Substitute, which is totally fine, unless he has like Toxic, which would really suck because then that puts me on a timer, and then I can't really break the Dragalge Substitute. But since he can't really break through Zapdos with his Dragalge, it seems like, because Sludge Bomb barely does anything, even if he gets a Poison, that's fine. I decided to go for a Defog over here because I just want to get rid of those Toxic Spikes. I do not want them laying around and toxicking my entire team because I want to keep them longer in the game, and potentially I'll need the HP on those guys as well. Even though the rest of my team is pretty frail, they might be able to take a hit here and there. So I just keep going for Roost, as my plan over here is to try and whittle down the Dragalge as much as possible, because the Dragalge seems to not have any recovery unless it has rest, and if I can just break the sub here and there, and he might be forced to go for a substitute again and again, maybe I can get a burn with Heat Wave as I break the substitutes. That could be really good for me. Even though he does get a poison, I'm still kind of pressure stalling him as well with my ability Pressure, so his PP is going to be lowered, and maybe he won't have any other attacks to hit me with, and he'll probably struggle to death. So yeah, I mean, Zapdos does what it does best, pressure stall, and whenever he runs static, it paralyzes. Zapdos always being annoying, but hey, that's why Zapdos is used, and that's why Zapdos is really, really good. Really bulky, and also we do have enough speed to outspeed base 70 speed Pokemon, which is like Bisharp, Breloom, Adamant Mega Scizor, I guess. So he actually switches out into Tentacle over here as I just go for a Roost because he went for Draco Meteor, lowered his special attack, and I guess he just kind of gave up right there. He's just like, yeah, I'm not breaking through Zapdos with this Dragalge. I'm just kind of stalling him out, which is my best play to do since I don't want to lose the game, you know. So I just Volt Switch on the Tentacruel as I'm actually faster, so that's good to know. He's probably a bulky Tentacruel. I thought maybe he would have, like, I don't know, Ice Beam and he'd be faster, but luckily he is not. So I bring in my Tapu Koko, as unfortunately he Sludge Bombs me, which, you know, I kind of expected, but that's pretty unfortunate that he got me with that Tapu Koko Sludge Bomb. So I didn't really want to switch into anything else because I wanted to keep the others healthy, like Alolan Raichu's my Wincon and Zeraora I don't want to get it weakened. And Tapu Koko took the Sludge Bomb, so that's really good for me. As I just Volt Switch as he brings in Dragalge. Now I bring in my Alolan Raichu. Now over here I probably should have Thunderbolted, but I felt like maybe he can sack a Dragalge off because it's kind of his weak link. But he does bring in Skunk Tank, and luckily he doesn't Pursuit Trap me as I switch out. Even though Life Orb, Modest, Thunderbolt, and Electric Train does one-shot Skunk Tank unless he's like a Soul Vest and really specially defensive. But it turns out I think he's banded Skunk Tank as I switch into Zapdos, and yeah, I mean, that did like 10 million, that Play Rough. I didn't expect it. It's not Stab, so I'm not too sure what kind of Skunk Tank that is. I think he was banded what he told me, or maybe just adamant. My best plan over here is to just go for a Roost and just try and get as much recovery as possible, because I am actually recovering. And also my Zapdos did live on 1 HP, which is kind of insane too. But yeah, Zapdos, like I said, does what it does best. Roost up and kind of stall out a Pokemon. And also, I could hope for a Pilera from this, which would be really nice, since it is 90% accuracy, and we all know 90% accuracy is a dang lie in Pokemon. So that's also what I'm hoping for. But yeah, pretty much try and get Roost up all the way to max HP, and then I'll Volt Switch is the plan, because I do want to keep Zapdos healthy enough to maybe take on Dragalge and Skuntank, because it seems like it can. So right there, he missed a Play Rough. I get to max HP, and luckily, since it's just not badly poisoned, it's just regular poison, I only lose 12% every single turn. So now I go for the Volt Switch, as luckily he switches out into Dragalge, and now I'm pretty much free to go into whatever I want. I actually choose to go into my Zeraora, since Zeraora, looking at it, he does not have a good switch in, and I'm pretty sure Banded Plasma Fist will claim a life over here, so that's exactly what I go for, since I'm pretty sure his Dragalge will not live a Banded Plasma Fist from the range he's at. So down goes the Dragalge, and now he pretty much has to revenge kill me with anything that's faster, and he does go into the Beedrill, which is most likely Mega Beedrill looking at his team, and it is Mega Beedrill, and if he wants to knock me out, that's fine. I'm willing to sack my Zeraora for the greater cause of maybe sweeping with a Alolan Raichu in the end, as he just throws off the U-turn and I get knocked out right there. Now maybe I should have switched down to Tapu Koko right there, get the electric terrain, and just sack it, and then I go into the Alolan Raichu, but I decided to just do that, and switch in my Alolan Raichu right here and right now, as I could just fire off a Psychic again, as hopefully he won't switch in the Skuntank, and he does not. So maybe predict him to switch out into Skuntank, since he already showed down to switching, but luckily he did not. And luckily he brings in the Beedrill over here, because I was really scared of getting Pursuit Trapped with the Skuntank, but maybe he doesn't have that since he has Play Rough, so I don't know. Monotype teams really do have like a bunch of different sets and a bunch of different moves than regular, teams and the standard kind of tiers, like Skuntank is PU. Usually have Pursuit. Maybe in this Monotype tier he doesn't want to have Pursuit. So he goes for the Fell Stinger, which is scary, but luckily Alolan Raichu is faster than Mega Beedrill, and I fire off the Thunderbolt since it should knock out Mega Beedrill, but he switches in Skuntank, and it gets one-shotted, so that is amazing for me, because looking at his team, the rest of it gets one-shotted as well from Alolan Raichu. Modest Life Orb, and that's 4 attacks with Grass Knot, Focus Blast, Psychic, and Thunderbolt. So down goes the Tentacle, and down goes the Mega Beedrill. So that Fell Stinger was a nice play right there. I mean, it wasn't going to save him, but it knocked out Tapu Koko, and he got that +3. Sadly, Mega Beedrill doesn't have any, I don't think it has any priority move. I feel like it would learn Quick Attack. I feel like it would learn Extreme Speed too, because, it's so dang fast, but I guess it doesn't want to learn it. So, yeah, GG to Sickow. But, yeah, really, really close game. Good thing his Skuntank probably didn't have Sucker Punch. Maybe it was like Crunch, Play Rough, and some other things. I don't know. It could have Banded Sucker Punch, but he just probably expected me to click the Psychic right there, since Beedrill's weak to Psychic. But Thunderbolt was my best play to just one-shot everything. Still, I actually was really surprised Skuntank got one-shot, but that's Electric Terrain, Thunderbolt for you. So next game we got is versus Obie over here, and he has a really cool team, Mono Rock. And I remember him telling me about this team before he battled. He told me he has a Monotype Trick Room team, and once he pulled up with this team, I was like, oh, this has got to be it, because he has a Carving, first of all, and 2 slow Pokemon, which is Stakataka and Rhyperior, and Stakataka learns Trick Room as well. So I'm really interested to see what he brings and what his sets are for this Monotype Rock team, because whenever I use a Monotype Rock team, it never does well for me, because, I don't know, this typing just always gets destroyed by everything. So I just lead off a Alolan Golem over here, and now I make the stupidest play over here ever against a Diancie. Now I wasn't thinking, I literally just clicked Stealth Rocks as the Mega Evolves and Magic Bounces the Stealth Rocks. So I'm like, well, you done it again, Viz, not thinking, you just literally click. Now that's why, a lesson learned, you should always think before you, click a move. You just, even if it seems like, a mindless play, I should have been like, yeah, that's probably Mega Diancie, not regular Diancie. So, unfortunately, he gets Stealth Rocks up first turn of the game, and I lose a Pokemon the first turns of the game. So that's really, really bad for me. I could have gotten a nice Earthquake off on this Diancie and see what kind of Diancie it is, because that would have been very valuable information for later on. You'll see. So I go into my Tapu Koko, since Tapu Koko is going to be faster than Diancie, threatens it out since he doesn't want to take a Thunderbolt, since he might lose his Diancie, maybe, if I'm Specs. as he just brings in Cradilly, Leftovers Cradilly, easy to, to switch in on an electric type, and Tapu Koko doesn't really have anything to touch Cradilly. Maybe if I'm like Fly EMZ, but even then I doubt it will knock it out with Brave Bird. So I decided to bring in my Zapdos, since Zapdos can defog and take anything the Cradilly wants to go for. So he fires off Toxic, which is totally fine. Puts me on a timer, but I do have Roost, and maybe I can play around it and keep up the momentum with my Volt Switch. So I'd still want to go for the defog, like I said, as he switches out into Carbink over here. Now I'm like, alright, this Carbink probably has Stealth Rocks. It's going to be like Stealth Rock Explosion, and I was kind of saddened that he didn't lead off with it, but makes sense since Mega Dance, he probably wants to lead off of that, since Magic Bounce and it would allow me to not get Stealth Rocks up versus his team. So I just Volt Switch on the Carbink, get some nice chip, and break it sturdy as I bring in my Banded Zeraora with Iron Tail. And I'm just going to go for the Iron Tail because I just want to one-shot this before he gets a Trick Room off. I'd probably expect Carbink to live a Plasma Fist, even in electric terrain, and I'm banded, and probably live a Close Combat. Now, Close Combat would have been nice, but I don't want the Trick Room off, so I just went for the Iron Tail as he brings in Stack Attack, which is on the Air Balloon. I decided to throw off an Iron Tail, maybe get some nice damage off. I know it'll live it, but I do want to get some chip damage to maybe put it in range of a Hydro Pump from Rotom-Wash. So sadly, I missed 2 Iron Tails right there as he gets a nice Stone Edge off of me. Now I'm like, alright, he's probably not going to go for Stone Edge because he can miss it. He probably is going to go for Gyro Ball, thinking that I'm going to sack Zeraora. I go into my Zapdos as he does fire off the Gyro Ball right there. And luckily, I live it on 1 HP after Stealth Rocks too. And I live with Leftovers Recovery and Toxic, since Toxic only hurts me 6% of my HP since it's badly poisoned and not regular poison. So now I'm like, alright, he's probably going to go for Gyro Ball again, so I'm going to go into my Rotom-Wash, since he has no real reason to go for Stone Edge and miss and risk that. So Rotom-Wash luckily takes it. I probably should have switched in Rotom-Wash in the beginning from Stack Attack, let's be honest, but I really just wanted to hit an Iron Tail and Stack Attack and put it in range of a Hydro Pump. So I fire off a Will-O-Wisp, kind of expecting him to probably want to switch out into Cradilly since it is immune to water, and since it does have the ability Storm Drain, so might as well burn it and negate its Leftovers. And now I just fire off a Volt Switch as Trick Room does end, luckily, when Cradilly does come out. So I don't have to take a Giga Drain, potentially. And now I just sack my Zapdos. I mean, I probably would have sacked Zapdos either way, as, Zapdos is going to go down to Stealth Rocks, and I have no way of getting rid of Stealth Rocks now, since Zapdos is my only defogger. So bring in my Banded Zeraora, which has no switch-ins left since Stealth Rocks are up, and if I switch it in again, it will go down Stealth Rock. So it's now or never as I fire off the Banded Close Combat as he brings in Rambo, the Rhyperior, and that gets 2-shotted, and I was really surprised about that. So it's obviously going to be a offensive Rhyperior, and it makes sense since he does have a Trick Room team, since he wants to utilize the Trick Room as much as possible with his offensive rock types. So yeah, really good for me. Even after Solid Rock, Banded Zeraora breaks through that Rhyperior, since you never really see Rhyperior get knocked out by a non-stab, like, super effective move. But I guess when you run a Banded Zeraora, it does. So it brings in the Nihilego. I don't want to lose my Zeraora, and I was kind of expecting him to be Choice Scarf. Nihilego, I could keep Zeraora as a sack, but he throws off the Trick Room. I'm like, oh my god, this is probably going to be Focus Sash Nihilego. And he knew that he can get the Trick Room off no matter what. So I was like, dang it. So now the Trick Room is up, and now I gotta play around it, and I'm trying to stop the Beast Boost. Like, I'm always trying to stop the Beast Boost from Stack Attack and Nihilego, because once that Beast Boost happens, it's gonna be snowballing through my team. So I go into Rotom, I go for the Pain Split, because I know I can take a hit from the Nihilego and Pain Split up, but he just make a nice play going to Cradilly. So now Cradilly is gonna be faster in the Trick Room and able to get a nice Giga Drain off. Maybe, but he fires up to Toxic, maybe expecting me to switch out. But I stay in, and I just will go for the Volt Switch, which does some nice chip, weakening that Cradilly as much as possible, as I go into Tapu Koko, and any chip really helps on the Cradilly, because that gets me one step closer to maybe not getting it out. And my best way of winning at this point is hoping that a lone Raichu can pull through, even though I'm kind of predicting to have Focus Sash, Nihilego, and live a Psychic, even though he's probably going to be max HP too, so he can live pretty much anything with Nihilego's massive HP and special defense. So bring in my Alolan Raichu as Trick Room is gone this turn, and I don't knock him out Focus Blast over here, praying that I hit, and luckily I do, as Cradilly has a massive special defense, and I actually get a special defense drop, which I think might have mattered right here, because Giga Drain gains him enough HP where he might be able to live a Psychic. I think it might be a roll though, but I probably would have clicked Focus Blast if I didn't get that special defense drop, because I don't want to risk the roll. As now I'm pretty free to just fire off a Psychic, since that special defense drop helps me out a lot right there. So Alolan Raichu, please. I'm praying that I can win the game, but he brings the Mega DNC, and I'm expecting it to be, you know, max speed and outspeed me. So I switch out into Tapu Koko, get that Electric Terrain, and make my Alolan Raichu able to outspeed everything with the Surge Surfer. But he has Trick Room Mega DNC. I'm like, oh no. Is this going to be max HP and probably max special attack? Maybe Quiet Nature Mega DNC. I go on Rotom-Wash, hoping maybe I can live a hit and outspeed the Mega DNC and throw off a Hydro Pump, as he just, you know, Moonblast me, and I do live it after Stealth Rocks and Poison, so all my Electric types are living all these massive hits, and turns out he is slower with the Mega DNC, so he is running no speed EVs and no IVs in speed, and negative speed nature Mega DNC, so down goes Rotom-Wash. I think that's the only reason he would outspeed me in Trick Room, so that kind of sucks, and now everything's just going to get one-shotted by Mega DNC, so if only I didn't have the Alolan Golem go for Stealth Rocks on that Mega DNC. It would have been a totally different game. I would have saw that he was a bulky Mega DNC, probably max HP, and I got the Earthquake off, and potentially, you know, later on in the game, Alolan Raichu, I would have Thunderbolted the Mega DNC, since I knew I would be faster, since I knew he'd be running max HP, and potentially I would have saw the damage on Alolan Golem and saw that he's running maybe max special attack as well, because maybe he could have been running like max speed, max HP, but turns out he is not. He is running max HP, max special attack with Trick Room. So a really cool rock team on Obie's part. I need to use that sometime later, maybe in the Pokemon Showdown. I don't know if I'd do it in a Wi-Fi battle, since you guys already saw the team, but we'll see. So now last game we got versus TheSmasher with a Steel, Mono Steel type. So another stack attack, I gotta be wary of that. And yeah, pretty much everything else I'm not too scared of, since Electric does resist Steel, so all around good matchup for me, except Stack Tackle with Trick Room is scary, and also I guess Heatran is scary, since Heatran has Magnet Storm and Earth Power and Flash Cannon and Stealth Rocks potentially, and potential to have the Z move. But yeah, I'd lead off a Alolan Golem, get my rocks up, even though it doesn't really help versus a Mono Steel type team. It's a good chip, maybe get rid of any Focus Sashers potentially. As he just throws off the Hammer Arm, which is interesting. I thought he would have Earthquake, but I do have the Air Balloon, so I guess he doesn't want to go for an Earthquake, but maybe he had a Meteor Mash and maybe get a nice attack raise, but he actually has Stealth Rocks and lives that Earthquake, which is to be expected since Metagross has insane defense and he is Leftovers, so that's good to know. And then he just fires out the Bullet Punch, and I live that, so I get a nice Earthquake again on the Metagross. So Alolan Golem living that Bullet Punch with its massive defense as well, putting Metagross in range of any attack that I really want to go for it. But unfortunately, he can knock me out with the next Bullet Punch right there, as Alolan Golem is going to go down. And also, I do have Magnet Pull, so he's not allowed to switch out as well. Now, some people would be like, why don't you use Galvanize? Which could, but Magnet Pull is really nice for trapping Steel types, because essentially, I just trap the Metagross and pretty much force it to take all that damage, and then it goes down. So, we'll switch on out with the Rotom-Wash, gain the momentum for me. And if he does want to switch out, I'll switch out accordingly on whatever he switches in. So now I bring in Tapu Koko, get that Electric Terrain up, which will benefit me a lot, as he is going to try and take advantage of that, I'm guessing, with the Magnezone. So I'm thinking he's going to fire off a Thunderbolt, expect me to maybe want to go into my Zapdos, as I just Volt Switch, and now I want to go into Zeraora. Since Zeraora can take everything, the Magnezone goes for it. It's a mid-ground play, as I can fire off a close combat as well. So he does fire off the Flash Cannon right there, does some decent damage right there. Doesn't really matter though, since I can just fire off the close combat like I said, and claim some lives. So down goes Magnezone. He doesn't have a too good switch into Zeraora Banded, as he actually brings in Stack Attacka, which is really weird, since Stack Attacka is 4 times weak to fighting, and he just saw I had close combat, so I'm not too sure what his play is right there. Maybe he thought he would live a close combat, I'm not too sure, but yeah, that was a weird play on Smasher's part. I don't agree with that at all. He should have went to Scizor, which is, you know, the play right here. And I actually stay in and go for a close combat on the Scizor, because mainly I just wanted to see what kind of Scizor it is, and maybe if he goes for a Swords Dance. And also, I just wanted to kind of stack Zeraora at this point, since it did enough at this point. And I was like, yeah, I could probably win the last remaining Pokemon. I mean, I could just probably win with Zapdos, But he actually goes for Roost as I go for a close combat, so I'm like, okay, I'll just switch out my Zeraora. Good play on his parts. Maybe predict me to stay in and go for a CC as I just go into my Rotom-Wash, and he fires off a Bullet Punch. So maybe expect me to get knocked out by the Bullet Punch right there, since my Zeraora had like -3 or 4 defense from going for all those close combats. As I just throw off a Volt Switch. I expect him to switch out, but he didn't. So I wish I went for the Will-O-Wisp, but he still had Heatran. I don't want to give that Flash Fire boost. So bring in Tapu Koko again, as he throws off the Curse. So that's pretty cool on Scizor. I see Curse sometimes, like I see a max defense Mega Scizor set with Curse in OU. Sets up on Zygardes, I would say, and any other Pokemon that tries to hit it physically, I guess. Pretty cool, and I think you get that from RBY or Virtual Console. I'm pretty sure, just like any other Curse mons that are new from Gen 7, like Ho-Oh I think got Curse as well. I don't know, some other mons. But I bring in Zapdos either way, because Zapdos literally walls Mega Scizor for days, and even though he can have like knockoff, I doubt it since he's Curse, and I mean he could have knockoff since they could run that. But maybe, yeah, I think Curse runs knockoff. He could be U-turn though. So, anyways, it doesn't matter because I just knock him out with Heat Wave, and I can live anything either way. Like, I can live a knockoff at +1 Mega Scizor or even +2. So he brings in Klefki, gets a Spike Up, which doesn't really matter since I could just Heat Wave him. Now, maybe if Klefki had Toxic, he went for that. He could have done something. But, yeah, he just keeps getting Spikes Up, which is not going to help him out at all. He should have done that in the beginning. And try and preserve Stack Attack and get a Trick Room off, and then try and win with that, which would have been his best way of winning. Since Trick Room really helps him with Stack Attack since Stone Edge and Gyro Ball. Even though Gyro Ball doesn't really help him versus my team. Maybe versus the fast electric types like Tapu Koko and Alolan and Raichu, if he doesn't want to, you know, miss Stone Edge or predict me to switch into one of my flying types or Rotom-Wash on an Earthquake, if he does have that. But maybe he would be like Super Power Fighting Z. But over here I just throw off a Defog since I don't want all those spikes up, and it turns out he was Pinch Berry Klefki as well, which is interesting. I didn't expect that. But that's pretty cool. So now I'll just go for a Heat Wave again and knock out the Klefki, as his last Pokemon is going to be the Heatran, which I defogged the Stealth Rocks away, which could have been bad if he's Focus Sash, but if he's Focus Sash, I'm not really too scared of that. And plus, my last 5 Pokemon should be able to take on Heatran as he throws off a Lava Plume, which is interesting since he's faster than me. I would not expect a Heatran max speed, maybe, to have Lava Plume. I would expect it to be max special defense Lava Plume, but that's cool. Full switch on out and bring in my Zeraora, and I can just click the close combat and knock out the Heatran, and that is going to be a GG to Smasher. So that is going to be the end of the Wi-Fi battles. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, do your thing. And comment question of the day is, what do you think is the worst monotype to use? And then I'll use it. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like people will say Rock, but Rock is actually, you know, it beat this Mono Electric, so you can't say Rock, even though last time I used it I lost a lot. But this Monotype Trick Room Rock team is really cool. But yeah, see you guys in the next video. Peace, peace.